Hi everyone. First of all, you might be wondering why I'm not wearing my common trademark black mock. Well, I'm trying out a new look, so we'll see how this goes. I have a feeling I'm probably going to be sticking with this for a while, probably sans tie, but let's see what happens. At any rate, I'm talking to you today about the ongoing battle between Ecuador, Chevron, and a lawyer by the name of Steve Donziger. This is a complicated issue that hasn't been covered on television. In fact, I think CNN International would be a great candidate for coverage of this story. And I think because there are people who can't seem to find what the simple story is about. Well, here's the simple story. The allegation is that since the 60s, Chevron and Texaco, which is actually owned by Chevron, has been dumping oil into the Ecuadorian jungle area. Chevron's claim is that its division, Texaco, which operated during that time from 1968 to 1989, had admitted its guilt and sought to clean up its responsibility. However, from 1989 to present day, oil production has been managed by the state-run company called Ecuador, which was actually created in 1989 for the purpose of taking over oil production from Chevron Texaco. During that time, there was, and still exists today, an anti-American business sentiment, which I'm not saying is either good or bad. There is enough blame to go around all sides. But the problem in this case, very simply, is that the country of Ecuador is trying to push all of the blame for the oil spills solely on Chevron Texaco and not on Ecuador. In past videos, I've explained, for example, how Ecuador was responsible for explosions and had taken over oil production, and the spills continued through to at least 2003 through 2005. The latest news in this ongoing battle is that the Ecuadorian Court has indicted two Chevron attorneys by the name of Ricardo Reis-Vega and Rodrigo Perez Palares. Chevron's claim is that the indictment proves that the government has been trying to tamper with a lawsuit. Steve Donziger basically has been accused of calling for the indictment of the two attorneys I named. Steve Donziger is the plaintiff attorney who's behind the $16 billion lawsuit on behalf of the country of Ecuador against Chevron, and whom I've talked about before. Should he prevail, he would stand to win $5 billion of a $16 billion lawsuit. Donziger said, and I quote in the San Francisco Chronicle article, "I have never participated in a press conference that called for an indictment, ever." And that's so far true. But I've uncovered evidence that even while he may not have participated in a press conference that called for their indictment, he did issue a press release which contains statements by an attorney he's partnered with, a gentleman by the name of Mr. Pablo Fardaro, that Chevron's attorneys were basically guilty of fraud. Specifically in this press release, it is written that, and I quote here, the Chevron spokesman quoted in the press statement, Ricardo Reis-Vega, has been under criminal investigation in Ecuador for lying to the government about an earlier botched remediation and environmental cleanup. Reis-Vega also has a conflict of interest in that he supervises the litigation for Chevron, yet he is also accused of fraud in the case itself. Now, this press release was put out by media contact Steven Donziger. Leaves his cell number and his landline in New York, as well as his email. So it appears that from this there is enough mistruth to go around on Donziger's side as well, and that this press release dated Thursday, April 3rd, 2008, demonstrates that Donziger was not only in bed with the Ecuadorian government, but also participated in calling for the indictment of at least one of the two Chevron lawyers that were indicted. Now, for good measure on Ecuador's part, they also included the indictment of the former head of Ecuador, but it isn't explained specifically why. I'll get more information on that. But that's the news as it stands right now, and it's very important that one read into in detail what both sides are putting out. I must add that this press release that I found was cached. Donziger had arranged to have it taken down, but he forgot about the cached version. I found it.